You've felt it, haven't you? That gentle ache in the quiet moments. That whisper in the dark that says, "There's more here than you can see." The angels say, "You are never just imagining things." He doesn't know how to express it yet. But his soul remembers you. Even if his mind still clings to logic, even if his mouth remains silent, there's something ancient within him that stirs when your name brushes through his heart. He sees you in dreams that feel more like memories than fantasies. He feels you in songs he didn't choose, in places that seem to hold your essence, in moments when his chest tightens and he doesn't know why. You awaken something sacred. The angels whisper, you are placed in his path not to be understood, but to be remembered. They say, she carries a vibration that his soul has long forgotten, until now. That's why he's drawn to you and confused all at once. Why he tries to move on but keeps circling back. This isn't just affection. It's recognition. And that recognition comes with fire, with fear, with a longing he doesn't yet have the words to confess. You are not someone he met. You are someone he found again. The angels want you to know, your presence didn't arrive to fill a void. It came to wake him from a deep forgetting, to activate a destiny. This is why he pulls away sometimes. Because this connection, it demands more of him than anything else ever has. And yet, it heals. He doesn't realize it yet, but every time he steps closer to you, some old wound begins to close. Not because of anything you do, but because of who you are. And this is sacred. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings. Proverbs 25 verse 2. There's a storm he carries inside, and it has nothing to do with you. The angels say, his heart has learned to survive by hiding, to avoid love by masking it as distraction, to run from what feels too pure, because purity demands truth. And truth? It terrifies him. You stirred something deep within him. You didn't intend to, but your presence made his walls tremble. You walked in like a quiet truth, and suddenly all his carefully constructed stories about love began to fall apart. Stories that told him love always hurts. That closeness means danger. That vulnerability is weakness. The angels whisper, he's not resisting you. He's resisting everything he has not yet healed. There are wounds from long ago that still bleed in silence. Abandonment. Disappointment. The kind of grief that buries itself in the bones and becomes part of how a man walks through the world. You didn't cause this, but now through you, life is asking him to finally face it. You represent something unfamiliar to him, safety. And safety, for someone who's never truly known it, can feel threatening. That's why he gets close and retreats. Why he confesses something with his eyes, but not with his mouth. There is a war inside him between what he wants and what he believes he can survive. But the angels are clear, this pain is not a punishment. It's a preparation. And even when he pulls back, even when the silence grows, the work continues in his soul. They say, don't take his walls personally. You didn't build them. But your light is what will one day make them fall. This is how healing begins, not in comfort, but in confrontation. There's a tenderness you extend to others that you often forget to offer yourself. The angels lean in now, and they ask, beloved, when was the last time you truly gave yourself permission to rest in your own arms? Yes, he is in process. Yes, there's a sacred storm moving through him. But this journey is not just about him. It's about you. And your light. And your becoming. You were never meant to abandon yourself just to be close to someone else's awakening. The angels say, your love is a sanctuary, not a sacrifice. He needs time. He needs grace. But you need care. You need your soul nurtured, not just your heart stretched thin by someone else's healing. Let this be a holy reminder, you are not here to rescue. You are here to radiate. And that means feeding your own fire. Don't dim yourself hoping he'll finally see you. Shine brighter, so that if he ever chooses to meet you, it's in your full presence, not in your exhaustion. Some nights you lie awake wondering if you're doing too much, if your empathy has become your exile. But the truth is, your compassion is a gift, as long as you remember to keep some for yourself. The angels want you to choose you, to wrap your own arms around the girl inside you who still waits for someone else to say, you matter. Let that voice be yours. Let that care come from you. Because the most magnetic thing you can do now is to love yourself the way you wish he could. He is healing. But so are you. And your light deserves to stay lit. He sees in you the parts of himself he tried to bury. That's why it's so hard for him to stay. That's why he feels exposed when you look at him with soft eyes. You don't just see the man he pretends to be. You see the boy who still aches. You see the shadows. And no one has ever held those shadows with such grace. The angels say, she didn't come to complete you. She came to reflect you. You are his mirror. And when he looks at you, something ancient stirs, not because you remind him of someone else, but because you remind him of who he was before the world told him to forget. He runs because it's easier than standing in front of the reflection. Easier than admitting that your love is the first thing that feels like truth after a lifetime of pretending. You don't chase him. You don't control him. You don't put on an act. You just are. And that disarms him more than any wound ever could. The angels whisper, he cannot unsee what you've shown him. He cannot go back to sleep after your eyes have met his soul. So he avoids. He rationalizes. He looks for flaws. Not in you, but in the reflection you hold up. Because if he accepts your love, he must also accept that he's been hiding from it his whole life. And yet, your presence keeps calling him forward. You are not his healer. You are not his answer. But you are the gentle light that makes him question everything that has hurt him. You didn't ask to be a mirror. But your light makes it impossible to stay in darkness. He doesn't know it yet, but something inside him has already begun to change. The angels whisper, his spirit is remembering what his ego forgot, that love is not meant to be feared. And it started with you. Not with a grand moment or confession, but in the quiet ways you stood your ground. In the patience. In the pauses. In the way you didn't shrink when he pulled away. You became the stillness that confronted his chaos. The peace that revealed the noise inside him. And now, something is unraveling. He starts to notice your name rising in places he thought he had closed off. He hears songs differently. Looks at the sky and thinks of your laughter. Wonders if maybe, just maybe, you were never a chapter, but the whole story beginning to rewrite itself. The angels say, this is the season of slow awakenings. Nothing loud. Nothing obvious. But deep. Like seeds breaking under the soil. He may not reach for you yet. But his soul is. And that reach matters more than any text or call. This is where hearts start to shift in silence. You may not see it. He may not say it. But there is a new softness in his energy now. A question forming behind his defenses. What if she's the one thing I got right? Let that question live. Let his awakening be his own. Because when a man begins to feel again, truly feel, it is not the mind that leads him but the soul. And the soul already knows you. You've watched him come close, only to disappear again. And each time, it stings in a place you thought had already healed. But the angels say, this is not rejection. This is rhythm. His soul is circling something sacred, and you are the center of that pull. He moves away not because he doesn't feel, but because he feels too much. He tastes safety in your presence, and then panics, unsure if he's worthy of it. This push and pull? It's not about games. It's his way of trying to stay afloat in an ocean he never learned how to swim in. You represent love without conditions. And that terrifies someone who's only known love as a transaction. So he retreats, regroups, tries to convince himself that maybe distance will help him forget. But all it does is bring him back to you, again and again, with a longing he can't name and a guilt he doesn't understand. The angels want you to stop blaming yourself for his distance. They say, you are not a trigger. You are a truth. And sometimes truth arrives before we're ready to receive it. He's not choosing someone else. He's choosing familiar patterns over frightening growth. But even in his resistance, his soul is learning. Learning that absence does not quiet the echo of you. That no one else stills the noise the way your silence does. You are the constant. The lighthouse. The reminder that healing doesn't happen in a straight line, it spirals. And his return isn't weakness. It's evidence that the bond hasn't broken, only that he's still finding his way back through the fog. There is something in the way you love that heals what even time could not touch. He may never tell you this, not with words. But the angels know. They've watched the walls inside him soften each time your voice reaches him. They've seen the way your energy wraps around his shadows, not to erase them, but to say, even this part of you is safe with me. The angels say, she loved him in the language of presence, and he'd never heard that before. You didn't fix him. You didn't save him. But you saw him, in the cracks, in the silence, in the space he thought no one could enter. And in that seeing, something began to mend. Your love is not loud, but it echoes. It doesn't demand, but it lingers. It doesn't chase, it invites. And even when he tried to run, it followed him like a memory too soft to forget. He may not admit it, may not understand it. But when he breathes easier, it's because you were near. When he believes in something good, it's because you held the light long enough for him to remember his own. The healing didn't happen all at once. But piece by piece, your love rewrote the story he told himself about what love could be. Not pain, not absence, not performance, but tenderness. And now, when he closes his eyes, he doesn't see a rescuer. He sees a mirror, a sanctuary, a place he never thought he'd find, and still isn't sure he deserves. But the healing has already begun. Because love like yours doesn't ask for proof. It simply arrives. And stays. It's no accident that your souls collided. The angels speak clearly now. This was written long before time began. There is a divine thread pulling the two of you forward, slow, invisible, but unbreakable. You've doubted it. You've questioned why it's taking so long. Why he can't just see what's so clear to you. But heaven works in seasons, not seconds. And this is sacred timing. Every pause, every silence, every return has been part of a map only the divine could draw. You have not been forgotten. This story has not been abandoned. It is unfolding exactly as it should, not to test your patience, but to expand your trust. The angels say, when it's not time, you cannot force it. But when it is time, nothing can stop it. He is being guided. Even when he looks lost. Even when he tries to convince himself that this connection is a coincidence, not a covenant. Even then, the angels are whispering truth to his soul. And he's listening now, in ways he never has before. You are being asked to believe without evidence, to love without certainty, to trust without answers. Not because it's easy, but because your soul was made for this kind of faith. This isn't about whether he chooses you. It's about trusting that God already did. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7. There's a kind of love he's never allowed himself to feel, and you are the reason it's now knocking at his door. The angels lean close, their voices hushed. She scares him, not because she is dangerous, but because she is real. You are not a fantasy, not a projection. You are presence. Full, steady, awake. And that is what terrifies him. Because for the first time, he is not being asked to impress. He is being invited to reveal, to unravel, to be. And the truth is, he doesn't know how. There are parts of him that have never seen the light. Memories buried so deep that he's mistaken them for parts of his personality. Beliefs that tell him, love is earned. Worth is proven. Feelings are shameful. But when he's with you, even if only in thought, those beliefs begin to shake. He wants to come closer. Wants to tell you. But every word catches in the throat of the boy who once reached out and wasn't met. So now he waits. Hesitates. Hopes you'll read the silence like a love letter. The angels say, his heart is opening in secret. He is learning that to be loved doesn't require any defenses. That he doesn't have to go through pain to be worthy. That someone can see every flaw, and still choose to stay. But it will take time. Not because you're not enough, but because what you awaken in him is. This is the brink of healing. And to cross it, he must first feel safe enough to fall apart. The angels are creating that space. Within him. Around you. Between you. And one day, when he no longer fears vulnerability, he will meet you there. You were never meant to be chosen. You are here to remember that you already are. The angels say, this is not about the end of a love story. It's about the beginning of your sovereignty. He may come. Or he may not. But your worth is no longer a question. It is a certainty, deep, sacred, unshakable. You gave love without conditions. You held space when it hurt. You offered gentleness in a world that taught you to put on armor. And throughout it all, you never lost yourself. That is the miracle. That is the reward. The angels want you to hear this loud and clear. He didn't awaken something in you. You awakened something in him. And now, you release the timeline. Not because you've given up, but because love, true love, doesn't chase. It breathes. It trusts. It waits if it must, but never at the cost of self-abandonment. Let him find his way. Or not. But you? You move forward now. With grace in your heart and peace in your soul. Not waiting, not hoping, not longing, just existing in your fullness. If he returns, let it be because he finally sees what heaven has always seen in you. And if he doesn't, let it be the space where a deeper love comes in. The angels bow now. Not in farewell, but in respect. You remembered your light. and that remembrance is your freedom. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. Exodus 14 verse 14.